Welcome to the ultimate of the ultimate buyer's guides for the S8 Ultra. So what we're going to be doing is first we're going to be reviewing the S8 Ultra, and then we're going to be comparing it to other tablets like the iPad Pro, the S7 Plus, and then we're going to be looking at some accessories like alternative styluses that you can use. And then we're going to be looking at a magnetic stand that you can also use for the S8 Ultra. So let's get right into it. Every product aims to solve a problem. Every great product actually solves that problem. Now you have to ask yourself, what problem does the S8 Ultra actually solve? Well, to find that out, we have to go back and look at the S7 Plus. Drawing on the S7 Plus has always felt good from a driver's standpoint, as far as the pen pressure, as far as the accuracy of the pen. It always felt great, but I always felt a little bit restricted. I felt restricted because of the screen. When I'm drawing, I would have to, restrict my movements and sometimes draw with my wrists and sometimes even my fingertips. And it restricted my drawing so much so that I mostly used the S7 Plus for note-taking, writing scripts, taking down ideas and things like that. But here comes the S8 Ultra coming in with the cape on his back to save the day. Its 14.6 inch screen gives artists enough room to navigate and draw comfortably. Oh, I need to take this. Go ahead.
Hey, Hamp, don't forget to tell them about the price.
Yeah.
The 8 gig, 128 gigabytes of storage is starting right at $1,100. That's the one you got.
Yeah.
The 12 gigs of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage is starting right off at $1,200. And then the big boy, the 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigabytes of storage is gonna run you about $1,400. But don't forget, you always can use a micro SD card to put up to 1 terabyte of storage on there. I'll holler at you.
Now let's look at what's actually in this box. Well, of course you get the S8 Ultra, right? You get a S Pen and you get a data cable, and then you get the ejection pin for the micro SD card slot. Now let's hold it right here and let's talk about the S Pen for a second. So the S Pen, in my impressions video, I said that it looks exactly the same as the S7 Plus, and it does, and it is. It's the same exact pen, right? Which is a bit of a letdown, right? And not because of the actual pen performance. The pen performs well, right? But the comfortability level, like the pen is not, in my opinion, is not suited for long tail drawing sessions. Just not suited, right? So I really want Samsung to just make an artist version of the S Pen. You can model it after the Wacom pen or something like that, because right now I'm using the Wacom One pen. And yes, you can use the Wacom One pen on your S8 Ultra, S7 Plus. Samsung uses Wacom's pen technology, so that's why their pens are compatible. So how does it actually feel to draw on the S8 Ultra? Is it calibrated right? Do you have wobbly lines when you're trying to make a straight line? Everything like that. And I gotta tell you, if you have a S7 Plus, if you have a S7, it draws the exact same way, literally. I really couldn't find a difference in how this thing draws, and that's really not a bad thing, because the S7, as we know, was very capable, but it's almost like the exact same tablet but bigger. But for those of you who haven't experienced drawing on the S7 or S6 or even any type of Samsung tablet, you have nothing to worry about. It uses Wacom pen technology. I would say arguably the best as far as pen, one of the best technologies or software drivers and things like that you can have. And there are no glitches. Well, there's one glitch. There's one glitch that I found, and I don't know whether this is a Samsung tablet problem or it's a problem with the software, but it seems like the pencil tool, using the pencil tool, it doesn't really register the pencil tool right. And maybe I need to go in and fine tune and adjust the settings of it, of these particular pen tools or whatever. But I found out that it doesn't read the pressure accurately only when using like the pencil tool. And this is in Infinite Painter, this is in Sketchbook Pro, this is in Clip Studio Paint. So this is in 3 programs. So that, that's kind of wonky, but other than that, it's a nice tablet to draw. It really is. Now, who is this tablet for? Now, I've watched a lot of reviews. Most of them, they couldn't really understand why someone would need a 14.6 inch screen. And I get it, most of them aren't artists. So they wouldn't understand the glorious screen of the S8 Ultra, 3K screen, like having more real estate to actually draw, freeing up your hand motion. Like they can't really comprehend that. So I can understand why they don't understand why somebody would want a 14.6 inch screen. But I believe that Samsung had digital artists in mind when they made this tablet. And I say this because, I need to take this.
Yeah. I think you own this somehow. Because about 3 months ago, something like that, Samsung partnered with Clip Studio Paint to make the companion mode where you can use your phone to change colors, look at references and everything like that while you're using Clip Studio Paint. And then to come out a few months later with this tablet, 14.6 inch tablet that nobody seems to have a use case scenario for besides artists. I think you own to something. Yeah, I think Samsung is kind of like testing the waters a little bit, but I need them to really go all in and, and they can start by working with other or different art software or even developing their own app so the application can be better optimized for the S8 Ultra and just really all Galaxy devices. But with that being said, it's still a great product. It solves the problem of the smaller screen of the S7. I mean, any artist I believe would love to have this tablet. All facts, bro. All facts. But yeah, I'm gonna holler at you a little bit later though. Believe that.
The S7 Plus versus the S8 Ultra. Is it worth the upgrade? So before I jump right into this, we are going to be talking about the base version of both of these different tablets. So for the S7 Plus, we're talking about 6 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabytes of storage. And then for the Ultra, we are talking about 8 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabytes of storage. So we're gonna jump right into the price. The S7 Plus, right now you can get at about $680, something like that. For the S8 Ultra, it's gonna come in right at $1,000. And I did get this pricing model from the Samsung website, so you may be able to get a few deals or whatever on Amazon, B&H, or whatever your preferred retailer is. Now let's jump right into the screen. The S7 Plus screen is 12.4 inches. It's a Super AMOLED screen, 120 hertz, HDR10 plus, and you're looking at a resolution of 1752 by 2800. And as far as the pixel per inch, you're looking at about 266. And that resolution is right around about 2K. When you jump into the Ultra, it's sporting a 14.6 inch screen, Super AMOLED, of course, 120 hertz, HDR support, HDR10 plus support as well. And the resolution is 1848 by 2960. Now that is 3K, and the pixel per inch is going to be a little bit smaller. It's going to be 240, as 240 ppi. Now let's take a look at the S Pen. Now the S Pen, they keep the same design, but they knock down the latency of the S8 Ultra. So the S8 Ultra, the latency, they knocked it down, and it is 2.8 milliseconds of latency, and that's just really a delay. How long does it take the tablet to read what the pen is doing, right? And the S7 Plus, the latency on that is 5.6 milliseconds. Now, here's the thing. I'm saying all of these stats and all of this, and right now the Ultra is, as far as the stats, as far as the numbers, is looking pretty good, but numbers are a bit deceiving, because it takes for you to knock down those latency numbers, which is great. It's progress, right? Knock down the latency numbers, you knock down or you upgrade from 2K to 3K. But really what I'm trying to say is that you have to knock those numbers down to a significant amount for you to actually feel the difference. Like, if nobody told you that the latency was different between the S Plus, S7 Plus, and the S8 Ultra, I guarantee you wouldn't be able to tell. So that's the thing about stats. You look on paper, oh, this is clearly better. But then when you actually get it in your hand, you actually start drawing with it, writing with it, using it, you're like, okay, I can't really tell the difference. And this is gonna segue to the drawing experience. Drawing on both of these tablets, like I expressed in my S8 Ultra review, which check out. But the drawing experience is similar. It's very similar. Although on paper, the stats of the S8 Ultra is, better. But as far as the feel of it, as far as when you take that stylus and you start to draw on the tablet, it's the same. Like it feels the exact same way. It performs the exact same way, although this CPU in this tablet is higher than the S7 Plus. You can't tell. And so if you're looking to upgrade to the Ultra and you're looking at the stats, you're like, ooh yeah, look at these numbers right here, look at these benchmarks right here. Don't let that fool you. The only difference between the only visual and noticeable difference between the S7 Plus and the S8 Ultra is that beautiful screen, that beautiful 14.6 inch screen, 3K screen. That's really the only visible, noticeable difference. So if you're upgrading for the screen for bigger real estate, go ahead, do your thing. And on side note, like if you have an S7 Plus and you're looking at the S8 Plus, I wouldn't even do it. I wouldn't even do it, because although the stats and everything like that say that the S8 Plus is better, the drawing experience on it is going to be the same. So you might as well wait to the S9 or whatever if you don't want to upgrade to the Ultra. But the Ultra, it's the screen. It's all about the screen. S8 Ultra versus the iPad Pro. Which one should you choose? Let's get into it. When you look at the display, the Ultra has a 14.6 inch display, 3K, 120 hertz. iPad Pro, 12.9 inch, 2.7K screen. When you look at the storage options, the Ultra, you have 8, 12, and 16 gigabytes of RAM option. The storage, 128, 256, 512 gigabytes of storage. And then you also can put a micro SD card up to 1 terabyte. When you look at the iPad Pro, the RAM is not disclosed, but the storage goes at 128, 256, 512 gigs, and then 1 terabyte and 2 terabytes. The S8 Ultra has a rectangle type of build to it, while the iPad Pro has a more squared off look. So let's take a look at the stylus.
Now the S Pen comes with the S8 Ultra. The length of it is about 5.7 inches. It can be charged. It does use Bluetooth to use the different features and all of that other stuff, but you do not actually need to charge the S Pen up to actually draw. And when you're drawing on your tablet, the nib is made of plastic, kind of hard plastic, and then the very tip of the stylus is a very soft plastic, so it gives off a very soft feel. You get a bit of a grip when you draw with it. It's not slippery when you actually draw on the tablet, and it feels quite nice. Now when you look at the iPad Pro, they have the Apple Pencil. This Apple Pencil you have to pay for. It's about $100 plus. Sometimes you can catch it on sale, sometimes you can't. It's around $100. Now the length of it is around 6.5 inches, right? So it's a little bit longer than the S Pen. This pen has batteries and it needs to be charged to work, simply because it connects through Bluetooth. So if it's dead, it doesn't work. If it something going on with your Bluetooth connection or the antennas in the pen or on the tablet, if they get messed up, your pen is not going to work. Now this nib is made of hard plastic, so as you're drawing on the screen, it kind of feels like you're skating on the screen. Now if you don't like that, you can purchase the paper-like screen protector that gives it a little bit more grain, a little bit more tooth to it. Now let's talk about the drawing applications. Now with the S8 Ultra, you have Clip Studio Paint, Infinite Painter, Krita, and all of these are excellent choices. Me personally, I like Infinite Painter, Krita, Sketchbook, and then Clip Studio Paint. All of these applications are good applications. Now when you go to the iPad Pro has, of course, Clip Studio Paint, Sketchbook, Infinite Painter, and they have Procreate. Now, my time when I was drawing using Procreate, this application ran very, very smooth. Very smooth. Interface was simple but powerful. You could do a lot of things. They had a lot of innovative things that I like dropping their take on the paint bucket tool, where you could just pick the color, drag it into the canvas, and boom, you change the color. I love that. So, and then when you talk about Clip Studio Paint versus Clip Studio Paint on the S8 Ultra versus the iPad, using it on the iPad, it's smoother. It's like it was well optimized for the iPad Pro. Very smooth. When I say that, I'm talking about zooming in. You zoom into the canvas, zoom out to the canvas. There's no like stutter. With the S8 Ultra, it's a bit of a stutter. You zoom in, zoom out, and things like that. And you wouldn't actually notice it unless you actually have drawn with the iPad Pro. So as far as the drawing applications, I'm gonna get that to the iPad Pro. They just have better drawing applications. So before we jump off the drawing application section, I wanted to mention that Android has an application called Super Display. And what this does is it turns your Android device basically into a second screen for your computer. And so what this allows you to do is you can use applications like Blender, Photoshop, desktop version of Krita, desktop version of Clip Studio Paint, your favorite desktop version of your drawing applications. You can use that on your tablet. Now I know you have to have the particular setup. You have to have a capable computer and things like that. But if you are set up for this, I think it'll be worth your while to at least try out the Super Display application. And I actually did a video on that. You can check that out, link up above. And so using this application can kind of negate some of the pitfalls that the Android drawing app have, and you can just skip those and just use the desktop versions of those drawing applications. Now let's talk about accessories. Now when you're talking about the S8 Ultra, as far as accessories, they lacking. I can't even cap. They lacking on accessories. I recently did a review on the magnet stand made by Lulu Look. That's really the only magnet stand I can really find for the S8 Ultra. There's not a lot of accessories for just Android tablets, period, let alone Samsung tablets. Now, when you go over to the iPad Pro, they have an abundance of accessories. And one of these accessories is something called the Sketchpad Pro, which can really change the dynamic of, you drawing on such a small screen. If you go to Etsy, they have like different alternatives to the Sketchpad Pro. Like they just got all types of different accessories. So when it comes down to accessories and really enhancing your drawing experience, the iPad Pro has the S8 Ultra beat. Now let's talk about the price. Now, when you look at the S8 Ultra, it starts off at around $1,100 to $1,400. When you look at the iPad Pro, it starts off at $1,100 and it ends up at around $2,200. Now, to sum this all up, I think that the S8 Ultra is the best bang for your buck as far as the screen, resolution. You have different stylus selections that you can choose from. And with the drawing app situation, just know that Android applications are going to be like second tier to the Procreates and things like that, but you can mitigate that with using the app Super Display and use your favorite desktop drawing applications. And then of course you have the S Pen, which is an excellent pen. It actually comes with the tablet. And then you have other options as far as styluses from good quality companies. And then for the iPad, just know that right now you're gonna get a smaller screen, but it's in that kind of squared off ratio, which I like. I like the squared off ratio of the screen. And then you'll have to buy the Apple Pencil. It doesn't come with it, but you do get better quality applications like Procreate. You get more accessories to actually enhance your drawing experience. So today we're going to be comparing three pens. That is the S Pen, the Wacom One pen, and the Norris Digital pen. And we're going to be testing this thing out on the S8 Ultra. Let's get into it. So for the first pen, we're going to look at the S Pen. The S Pen is a round pen with one flat side on it. It has a button and it has a rubber-like nib. Most of the nib is hard plastic, but right at the very tip, it's made out of like a softer rubber. When you look at the length of it, it's coming in right under 6 inches. The weight of it, 1.13 ounces. Now my beef with this pen is that it's kind of on the skinny side. So if you have large hands and you like to draw with a tight grip, it's gonna be difficult for long-term or long sessions drawing without your finger hurting. Now, when it comes down to the feel of this pen, drawing on it or writing on it, it feels soft because of that small, soft rubber on the nib. And because of that, it gives you grip while you're drawing. And you don't necessarily feel the slipperiness of this glass screen. Now let's check out the Wacom One pen. This pen is a round pen with no flat sides, one button. It is the thicker of the three. I do like the thickness of it. It makes it more comfortable for people with larger hands. When you look at the length of it, it's coming right in at 6 inches. It's a little bit longer than the S Pen. When you look at the weight, it's coming in at 0.32 ounces. Now, I think the major difference between the Wacom One pen and the rest of these pens is that the nib is made of hard plastic, all of it. So you really feel the glass screen of this tablet, and it can be a bit slippery. But me personally, I like that slippery type of feel. It's almost like you're gliding across the screen when you are coloring or sketching or drawing or writing. Now you can pick this pen up on Amazon for about $29. Link down in the description below. Now let's move along to the Norse digital pen. This pen is a hexagon shape, which means it has 6 flat sides, and it looks, and of course it's shaped like a pencil. It is longer than the rest of the pens. It's coming in at about little under 7 inches, and the weight of it is 0.31 ounces. Now my beef with this pen or digital pencil, whatever you want to call it, is that it is in a hexagon shape, and it can kind of dig into your fingers if you draw with a tight grip. So I would recommend getting a pencil grip to put over it to kind of make it more comfortable to actually draw with. Now when you look at the nib on this pen, it is made of hard plastic, but also the tip is made of like soft plastic, soft rubber, and so it kind of mirrors the S Pen a little bit as far as the actual feel of it. And you also can get this pen from Amazon, coming in at $29. Now let's look at the use cases for all 3 of these pens, starting from the S Pen. Now the S Pen, in my opinion, is the most all-around pen. It is very optimized. Of course, you know, it came with the tablet, but it's very optimized to it. When you're drawing on it, like I explained before, it's very soft, it has grip, you don't feel the glass screen. And so this pen I found more comfortable using when I am sketching or when I'm inking and taking down notes. But sketching, inking, writing, and some coloring, it does okay with as far as the feel of it. Coloring large blocks of color, it's okay, but it is the more well-rounded pen out of the 3. Now the Wacom One pen has that hard nib, so it's very slippery. You actually feel the slipperiness of the glass screen, but it's a good feeling for me because it's almost freeing. Like the stylus just glides over the screen, and it gives me, you know, sometimes my drawing can be a little bit too stiff. And so this kind of gives me almost like a freedom. I really can't explain it, but it loosens, it kind of loosens me up. So I like this pen for sketching, and I also like this pen for coloring large blocks of coloring, just simply because the stylus, it just glides across the screen. There's almost no resistance. And then we have the Norse digital pen, which really surprised me because I thought I was gonna use this as sketching. Thought this was really gonna shine with sketching, just simply because it looks like a pencil, shaped like a pencil, and I'm used to drawing with a pencil, so I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll use this to sketch. And when I tried to sketch on it, it didn't feel right. It didn't feel right at all. But where it shined at is actually inking or doing line work. This thing, I don't, and I believe it's because it's a little bit longer, but I had so much control over my line work. Like I never had that much control. I had so much control over my line work that, you know, sometimes I didn't even need to like erase or, you know, stop halfway and then pick up the line again on the other side. Like I didn't have to do, so this is where this pen really stands out at. And also taking notes is very good with, you know, just note taking and writing and stuff like that. But let me know down in the comments below which pen y'all rocking with. So it looks like somebody is finally making the accessory that we need as artists for Samsung tablets. This is the magnetic stand from Lulu Look. It's available for Samsung S7, S7 Plus, S7 FE, S8, S8 Plus, and now the S8 Ultra. Let's get into it. Now let's look at the build of this magnetic stand from Lululook. It's made of aluminum. It has anti-slip and scratch silicone pads at the top where you sit the tablet on, and the bottom. I like this because it doesn't scratch up your tablet and on the back of it, and the pad at the bottom allows for the stand not to slip around really on no matter what type of surface that you're putting this stand on. You can rotate this stand 360 degrees counterclockwise and clockwise. I love the hinge on this thing. Is sturdy, firm, it's not easily, when you're drawing on it, you can't easily move it. Now when you have a magnetic stand, the magnets they need to be pretty strong, especially for a 14.6 inch tablet like the S8 Ultra. And when I did my test on it, and I flipped it upside down and I just started, trying to simulate some type of falling force to disconnect the tablet from the stand, but I couldn't do it. These magnets are strong, are very, very strong. So there's no need to worry about, whether or not your tablet is going to be secure on this stand. The stand has a slot for the S Pen in the back, so you don't lose the ability to just put your pen back there to hang out, or to actually charge your pen if you do use those Bluetooth features. When I use this to draw on, it's very ergonomic. I don't have to hunch over to actually draw or take notes or anything like that, and that's gonna save my back in the long run. I've seen and heard a lot of artists complain about back pains, neck pains, and stuff like that. So this stand is gonna save your back. Now I found out about this stand watching Tao on Tech channel. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, but he was reviewing the stand for the S7 Plus, and he reported that the magnets on the stand were kind of warping some sections of your drawing, so it would make the line kind of wiggly or something like that. And so I was concerned with that because S8 Ultra is probably gonna have more powerful magnets in it, just because the tablet is bigger. And so when I ran like a line test, just trying to figure out where the warping is gonna occur, I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it at all. So, I don't know, maybe Lululook looked at that review and kind of tweak some things out, but I couldn't recreate what he found on his review. Now let's take a look at the price. So the price starts off at $69.99 for the S8 and the S7 11-inch version, and then it goes up to $76.99 for the S8 Plus and the S7 Plus and the S7 Fan Edition. For the S8 Ultra, it's going to be $89.99. Right now, at the time of this recording, there is only one color, and that is space gray. Now, if you order it from the actual Lululook website, this thing does come from China. So if you order it, it's going to be a minute before you get it. I ordered this thing June the 22nd, and I received it about July 9th. So that's like 2 weeks, 3 days. I'm on Amazon right now, and it does look like they have this stand for the S8 Plus, S7 Plus, and the S7 FE. For all other stands, you'll have to go to the Lululook website. Lululook really outdid themselves. I'm very impressed by this stand. It's not a cheaply made stand at all. It's very sturdy, good quality, and I'm gonna be looking forward to see what else Lululook has in store for accessories for Samsung tablets. And also, while y'all here, check this video out right here. But anyway, I'll holler at y'all next time. Believe that.